Alright, what it do, YouTube? It's your boy Shannon with Team Scheme, coming at you with what I promise, a strategy guide on my matchups with Dofi. For those that don't already know, I've been having a lot of success with the deck locally. Haven't been to any big events yet. We'll change that though here in the future pretty soon. I plan on going to the PPG in Florida, so we'll see how we do there. But yeah, I've been having a lot of success with the deck. I got a pretty good formula, I think, with the deck of what to do with each matchup, and I just want to extend that help to you guys that are struggling. By no means is this a like for sure cutthroat, like this is going to get you the win guaranteed. That's not what this is at all. You can't promise wins. There's no way I'm going 87-0, but I think these methods are the best way to approach each matchup to have a better chance of success, right, with Doflamingo against X matchup. And that's all this video is here for. So yeah, be sure to hit that like, hit the subscribe if you haven't already. I'd very much appreciate it. For those that already have, appreciate the support. It's been very well noted, and I'm just gonna keep the content coming, right? Yeah, this game is awesome, right? But let's just straight into it. So the first matchup we're gonna talk about is the Zoro matchup. Zoro, it's one of the better decks of the format. It's probably arguably the best deck outside of a couple others. Very fast paced, very aggressive. The way I play Doflamingo, I play mid range, so you wanna and it's hard to get a deck that's so aggro, make them to join your game of mid range. So that's pretty much what you want to do every matchup, except a couple others. So with this deck, you gotta try to pace them down to your pace. With red, I noticed they get their hand size down a lot. Well, there's different variants of the builds of Zoro. You have the build that has like the blockers, and they can play a little better against like other aggressive decks. Then you got the all-out balls on the wall Zoro decks that are just bodies. Zoro's rush Luffy's just quick and fast, right? Which tend to be the scarier one, but most that's the more manageable one, because they're just exhausting so much to try and kill you as fast as possible. So my game plan against this deck is it's simple. It's very, very simple. Just don't let anything connect early. Some matchups you can let those free skis, those 1 and 2 hits, just go through and take that life. But like against Zoro, what I find myself doing is I don't let anything go through, because later on in the game, those 6-drop Zulufis they're coming in hot, right? They're unblockable, they're huge, right? So you got to save for those. That tends to be what I do against this deck. If you can help it, don't let anything crazy, like don't let anything weak hit. You want to with this, against this matchup, you can rely on your blockers surviving, because all they have really is the one Nico Robin that can tap blockers. But outside of that, like the removal is almost non-existent. They do have removal spells and stuff, events and stuff, don't get it twisted, they do, but they're not really going to exhaust that much on like just 1 and 2 skis removal. So you planning your blockers, you can more times than like 8 times out of 10 it's going to survive. You're going to be able to block with said creature, so you can definitely rely on that with this matchup. And once you get Zoro down to your pace, Zoro doesn't want to grind. They don't want to grind with you because they can't. So once you get them slowed down to your pace, you just play your deck, man. You just summon all your things, get your Mihawk out, get your Doflamingos out, get your blockers out, get your things off the top for free. So yeah, it's just slowing them down. You just gotta slow them down, get to your pace, and then it's just easy from there. I haven't heard too much struggle from you guys saying that you're struggling against Zoro, but that's the plan that's the route that I take against the Zoro deck. Next we have Law. In my eyes, this is just my opinion, I think Law can be the best deck. I think Law is probably, again, I'm not the guru, right? But I think just based on my experience, I think Law can be the best deck. But I don't think it's the hardest matchup for Dofi. Law is another, it's kind of like our deck, it's mid-range. I love mid-range decks, guys. Every game play, I love mid-range, but it's mid-range. The deck wants you and itself to play at its pace. And it utilizes the 5-drop Law, 6-drop Luffy's and Zoro's very, very well. Can recycle them, can clear boards very easily, can recover very easily as long as you're playing the deck correctly. How you navigate this deck again is just you gotta. So this is one of those matchups where they're playing how you're playing. So you just have to play in a way where you get, it's like against this matchup, it's an advantage game. Like it's an advantage. You don't really pay attention. I mean, obviously the name of the game is kill life, but it's an advantage game with this deck. You can't get this law off if you don't have 5 monsters on the board, right? So more times I'll be going for their creatures a lot because they had to exhaust their hand in order to be able to combo off with their leader. So I want to clear their creatures as much as possible, get them down to, you know, at least 1 or 2 every turn, so that if they want to be cheating out these Luffy's, be cheating out these laws, they're going to have to pay for them. They're not going to be able to cheat them out because you're going to be clearing their board as much as possible. So you want to be able to do that. And then while you're doing that, obviously going for life. So that's the best approach that I've been having with this deck. I haven't had too much problems facing this deck when I keep that in mind. Just it's an advantage game against, I mean, the game period is an advantage game, but a lot of the matchups you're like, all right, fuck advantage, I'm just going for your life, right? And there's a matchup where you do exactly that, right? But for this matchup, you do just that. Try to clear the creatures, play the advantage game very well in this matchup. Next, we got Crocodile. Crocodile, not to talk shit on the deck, it's just not, in my eyes, pure Crocodile isn't too good. Yeah, it's like, it's blue, so it plays our cards, but it's just really slow. Our deck is like Crocodile, but faster. We play the same cards, but we're faster, right? So there's really no, I haven't heard a single person saying, yo, I haven't had a single person text me like, yo, I need help combating this Crocodile player on my locals. I'm playing Dofi. What can I do? Not once have I heard that ever. Because the deck, again, not to talk shit on any Crocodile players. I love Crocodile. He's one of the GOATs. But deck is too slow. There's not really much you need to think here. Just play your deck and you should win. It's not really hard. You know, it's not hard at all. Next we got arguably one of the best decks of the format, Kid. This deck is supposed to be the second hardest matchup for us, number one being a deck that we'll get into later, but yeah, you have to this is one of those matchups where you definitely have to navigate correctly or you're just not going to win. You have to be mindful of the cards in their deck or you're just not going to win. And it's Kid, it's the 8-drop Kid. You got to be mindful of that card. With that being said, against this deck, one thing that you do against this deck that you don't do against other decks is try to get your big bodies out as fast as possible. What I mean by that is 8-drop Kid is coming. It's going to happen, right? It's going to hit the board. It's the best card in the deck. At some point, once they get to that curve, once they get to that, maybe more time, I don't see them dropping the Kid on their, not once they have 9, but once they have the 10 Dons, it's going to happen a lot of times, right? It's just a fact. They're going to drop it, right? So that being said, I want to get as many bodies out as possible before that happens, so that once that curve happens and the Kid is there, I can kill it as easily as possible, right? Because you can't play the game while that card's on the board, right? So you got to get those Mihawks out. You got to get those Dofis out. Those 7-drop, the 9-drop Mihawk and the 7-drop Dofis out as quick as possible. Got to get the Crocodile out if you got it, and as many passive faces as possible. You just got to get those big bodies out so that once you're swinging, you're only swinging at the Kid and you're swinging for a lot every single turn, so that they're trying to protect it. They have to exhaust a lot. They got to exhaust their blockers. They got to exhaust the cards in hand. So you got to get your shit out fast, right? And you got to be mindful of not swinging. And while you're doing that, so say they summon it and you don't have all your bodies out, right? The name of the game is at that point, the name of the game isn't win, it's get rid of Kid, right? So with that being said, if you can't kill the Kid that turn, why are you swinging at it? I see this so many times. So like I see someone, they'll have a 9-drop Mihawk out or a 7-drop Doflamingo out, and like they'll have just that and a leader, maybe one other creature, and they're just swinging at Kid. Right, they're swinging a Kid. No, you can't kill it. You can't kill it. Like, cool, I got a Mihawk out. It's more than 8. It's 9. I can put 2 down on it. Maybe it'll die, but you'll swing on it. It'll survive, and the next turn, your Mihawk or your Doflamingo is dead. So if I know that I can't kill the Kid this turn, I'm just not going to swing. I'm just not going to swing. I'm going to get more bodies out, but that next turn, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for that Kid, and it's gonna die. So you just do that. You just get as many big bodies out as possible. Then you swing on it. And if you're not swinging, right, that means your Dawn is up. You're gonna use your events. You're gonna use your counters in your hand, right? It's just that simple, right? So your stuff's gonna survive. And I don't mind grabbing a couple cards from the life, you know. I'm just trying to get rid of this Kid, and then I can clap you, right? So get your bodies out as fast as possible. That's the name of the game against Kid, right? by no means isn't the hardest matchup. All right, Kaido. This is the hardest matchup. This is Doflamingo's. This is the bane of its existence. It's Kaido, right? Because with our deck, Doflamingo, what it does is it can swarm the field very easily with very huge bodies, right? But Kaido 10 drop, oh man, that card just says get rid of all that shit, right? 9 drop is a lot more manageable because it just clears 1, and your best cards, which is the Mihawk, it can't be killed by it, right? So I'm not really too worried about the 10 drop, the 9 drop. It's just the 10 drop, right? With that being said, there's a game plan. There's a system that you have to do against Kaido, right? And here's step 1. Once Kaido hits the board, whether it's the 10 drop or the 9 drop, it's there. It's there, and it's sticking, it's staying. He's here to stay. He's not going anywhere. Don't go for the Kaido. Just don't even do it. And I know it's so tempting. I know it's tempting. Oh, I could put 6 Dawn under this Mihawk, and I could swing at this Kaido, and I could possibly kill it. I could, maybe. No, you're not killing it. If they got any Dawns up, even one, they got 1 Dawn up, it's not enough. You're not killing that Kaido. It's just they have a 1 drop that gains 4K, and then they have so many 2K counters. It's just not going to happen, right? So that being said, I'm just going for you. I'm going for your life every single time Kaido comes to the board. It's just staying there. I'm not wasting any resources. That's just skipping a turn. It's so much in One Piece, right? If you lose out on a whole ass turn, like you gotta. It's kind of hard to come back from that, right? So Kaido, he's doing his thing. Just leave him alone. He's gonna do his Kaido thing. Just go for the leader. Just swing on it. Now, in terms of the 10 drop, right? You gotta navigate this matchup differently, right? Because you gotta be cautious of the 10 drop, right? So before we get into the 10 drop, you gotta be cautious of the Kings, 7 drop and 6 drop, because they can pop your blockers, right? So with that being said, you know we're past 6 Dawn. They already ramped up so much. If you know that they play King and you got a Doflamingo, the 3 drop, or you got especially if you got a Kuma, the 4 drop blocker, any blocker, right? If you know that there's a possibility that they can get popped, you know what I'm saying? Because of Kings, why are we just not attacking with our blockers, right? You have to put the pressure on the board with these Kaidos, right? Because they have these guys that just pop your blockers and then they're huge, right? So you got to get in your licks with every single card. We're fighting for our life this matchup. You have to get those licks in. So I'm swinging with these 3 drop Dofis. I'm swinging with these 4 drop Kumas. I'm swinging with Boa. I'm swinging with everything because it's gonna die. I'm getting my use out of these cards, right? So you just got to get your licks in, right? So then once you get all those licks in and they're down to 1 or 2 life, and by the time they get to that, because you got to think about it, if they drop a 10 drop Kaido, they're tapped out, right? They're only playing with counters in hand. That means one of your attacks is connecting. For sure, 1,000,000%. They just cleared the board. They got no Dons up. You got your leader, it's connecting. That next leader attack is connecting, right? So a smart Kaido player is going to be mindful of that, right? So a lot of times it's not even viable to even drop the 10 drop because you're getting all those licks in and they can't just let you hit their life out willy-nilly, right? They got to exhaust so much. So get all your licks in with your blockers even, right? I know it sounds crazy to be attacking with your Dofis and attacking with your Kumas, but you got to get them in. I'm telling you, bro. And then on top of that, you have to use Kuma and Pacifista correctly this matchup, right? 10 drop is coming, maybe it's coming depending on how you navigate. And 9 drop is for sure, it's going to get something at some point for sure, 1,000,000%. 9 drop is going to get something. 10 drop is like 80% chance to get something. 9 drop, 100% is going to get something, right? So with that being said, you got to you got to use your Peronas and you got to use your Doflamingo 3 drops and your Desert Spotters accordingly. You got to make it so you got Pacifistas in your hand ready to go. Okay, you gotta have them in your hand so that once your Kumas dies, you're floating. You have bodies to combat and get these. When I say combat, I don't mean combat into the Kaido. I don't mean combat into swinging at the 10 drop. I don't mean combat into swinging into the 12 drop. You're combating into hitting their leader. You gotta have them things on you. Gotta have them things on you ready to go, right? So just navigate the top of your deck so that you have at least 1 or 2 Pacifistas in your hand so that you can attack with the clapback, right? At the beginning of the game, you just gotta make sure you're not like going slow. You know what I'm saying? You can't play the slow game. This deck, it wants you to take forever. It wants you to go slow. It wants you to slow down the game. Our deck is mid-range. Their deck is control. It's complete control. It's just complete. They're trying to control the game, right? you can't get into the game, because once you do, it's there's just no coming back. So you just gotta get your licks in, guys. Just get your licks in with this deck and manage your resources very well. All right, so and then the last mirror match. Gotta talk about the mirror match, guys. Mirror match is awesome. I love the mirror match a lot. The mirror match, honestly, it really comes down to there's a couple things that comes down to. The most notable thing, most players already know that are playing Dofi, is Mihawk. Usually first person to get their Mihawk out typically should probably win that game. The 9-drop, right? Shouldn't, like, if your 9-drop Mihawk hits like a Dofi or something, typically you should be winning that game, right? And then alongside that, going first, well, not necessarily going first, but whoever starts with Perona and Doflamingo first is in a very good spot. But one notable thing that I noticed in the mirror match, this matters a lot, and a lot of people aren't on it, is Sentomaru. A lot of blue players aren't on Sentomaru. I've noticed this playing because I played with Sentomaru and I played without it. I noticed that those that are playing it in the mirror match are in a way better chance, like very more advantageous to win that matchup, because Sentomaru is letting you summon these big bodies from your deck, not from your hand. So you're not wasting the resource, you're just up in the resource game. And being up in the resource game in any mirror match, just being up in any mirror match in resources is exponentially better than not, right? So with just one Sentomaru just changes this entire game, right? Doesn't matter at what point you summon it, just being a Sentomaru on board and having it stick and every turn summoning is just nuts. So whoever controls the Sentomaru game wins that a lot of times, and whoever gets the Mihawk out faster a lot of times. You got to be a little bit more aggressive in the mirror match, I find, than most, because you're both playing the same exact big range deck. So you don't, remember what I said earlier, you want to get them to play your game, but them playing your game is you playing their game. You know what I'm saying? I know it sounds weird, but like, you don't want it's weird. You don't want that to happen. You gotta kill them. You gotta get them out of here as fast as possible, right? Oh yeah, so with that being said, also, if you guys haven't seen my deck profile of the new Dofi deck, well, not new Dofi deck, but the same deck, obviously Doflamingo, just the new additions to the deck, the changes that I made since the last time, you guys check that out. Appreciate our support on that as well. Got a lot of views on there. Yeah, go ahead and check that out. I recently posted this awesome deck list, made a lot of changes, been having a lot of success with the deck, like I said before. Yeah, just going undefeated locals with every matchup. But yeah, that's what you gotta do with those matchups. I failed to mention, a couple of other matchups like Odin and Blue Purple Croc, because not to talk shit on those decks, they're just not as good. Blue Purple Croc's pretty good. The reason why I'm not mentioning it is because you literally navigate that matchup the same you navigate any, like I said earlier, any control deck. That one, Blue Purple Kaido, Blue Purple Croc is a control deck. It's control, okay? It's the same game plan, right? You gotta get those licks in. Same thing with Blue Purple Kaido. It's control, it's not mid-range, it's literally just control. You gotta get those licks in, right? So I didn't mention those decks because those aren't really too hard to navigate. But the ones that I did mention are the ones that you guys have asked for the most, and that's what I provided you guys. So if you got any questions, be sure to hit that like and the subscribe. Show me what you guys, show me in the chat what you guys want to see more of, and I got you. We're gonna keep the content coming like we've been doing, and yeah, just give all the feedback, bro. I appreciate all the feedback, guys. I really do. I'm just gonna keep the videos coming. But yeah, with that being said, guys, just take it easy.